Hey everyone, my name is John Clark from Private Practice Workshop, helping therapists help more people make more money and master private practice. And in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to set your fees in private practice and how to handle no-shows. All right, let's dive in. So I first want to talk about what not to do when it comes to setting your fees. So step number one, don't just charge $5 or $10 less than what the therapist next door is charging. I see too many therapists starting this way. They look at other therapists' websites, they look at their Psychology Today, and they ask around and they say, hey, how much are you charging? How much are you charging? And then they charge roughly that or sometimes a little bit less in hopes that that will be an advantage in the market to slightly undercut your competition. This is absolutely the wrong way to start setting your fees. Number two, this is another thing not to do. Don't just look at what insurance companies are reimbursing. So assuming that we're talking about setting your private pay fees, this is an opportunity for you to really take control of the revenue of your business, of the value that you provide to clients, and therefore when your business is going to generate the money you want it to generate, you're going to be able to actually live the life that you want to generate as a result of your business. So you have the opportunity here to not allow insurance companies to basically determine what you're going to earn per hour. The reality is that those rates that insurance companies have determined are oftentimes grossly under market value, especially when you're living in a major city. Okay, so step number three, and here's where we're going to really get into how to actually set your fees. So pull out a piece of paper right now, get ready to take some notes. The first thing I want you to do is write down the exact amount of money you want to take home every single year. So basically your annual net income. This is the money you want to take home after expenses and taxes. Okay, let's just say for a nice convenient number, that number is $100,000 per year. Step number four, then we're going to take that number, $100,000 per year, and you're just going to simply add 30% to account roughly for expenses and taxes. So again, if I have $100,000 as my ideal net income, I'm going to add 30%, which is $30,000, and that's going to give me my gross revenue target. So now we're looking at $130,000 is what I need to generate per year to take home roughly $100,000. Okay, so now that you've added 30%, let's move on to step five. And in step five, I want you to take that number and divide it by the number of weeks per year you want to work. A very common number is 48 weeks, so that would be taking off 4 weeks per year. So what we would do is we would just pick up our phone or calculator and we would take 130,000, or whatever your number is, and we're going to simply divide that by the number of weeks per year that we want to work. So I'm going to use 48 in our example here. So I've got 130,000 divided by 48. Okay, that number, 2,708 and 33 cents. That is the exact amount of money we need to generate per week in order to hit our income goals, so that we're one step closer here to figuring out what our fee should be. This is what I call reverse engineering your fee. So you're not just guessing, you're not basing it on what other therapists are charging, what insurance pays, etc. You're actually basing it on the exact amount of money that you want to make per year. Okay, so now that we have that number, let's move on to step number six. And in step number six, we're going to divide that number that we just got by the number of sessions we want to conduct per week. So the number of clients you want to see per week. Let's just say for a nice easy number, that number is 20, a very common caseload for a therapist in private practice. So I'm going to take $2,708.33 and simply divide that by 20. And now you've got exactly your fee. This fee would be $135 and about 42 cents. So $135.42. If I see 20 clients a week at $135.42, I'm going to be generating $130,000 per year, taking home roughly $100,000, and that's taking off 4 weeks per year. So you see this formula and you see how easy it is to actually reverse engineer your fee and make sure that your fee is truly based on the revenue that you want to generate and the income that you want to take home at the end of the day. Okay, so just to run through this again really quick, the way that I got this number was I set my ideal take-home pay, or my net income, which was $100,000. I add 30% to whatever that number is, so that makes it $130,000. I divide that by how many weeks per year I wanted to work, which was 48. That's the amount of money you need to make per week. and then we divide that by the number of sessions per week that you'd like to conduct. That's how to set your fees in private practice. Step number 7, this is the last thing I want to say about this. I want you to always charge $10, $15, $20, even $50 more than you're comfortable with. The reality is a lot of therapists and psychologists tend to undervalue themselves, and therefore we really undervalue our services. And I think when we do that, it conveys to society that we're worth less than other service-based businesses. And by way of doing that, I think it also undervalues mental health, and it encourages people to place less value and emphasis on their own mental health. So I think there's many reasons to really up your fee and think about your fee carefully in private practice. Okay, now that we've set our fee, let's move on to talking about how to deal with no-shows in private practice. This is something that happens quite frequently in private practice. It's just part of running a business like this, and it can be stressful if you haven't prepared by doing these things. The first thing you need to do is get clear on why you need to charge for no-show fees. The reality is your time is worth a lot, and when you have people canceling or canceling consistently, that starts to not only affect the therapeutic progress, but it really affects the revenue of your business. So the reality is when you engage with other service professionals, like whether it's a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist, and they say, hey, this is our no-show policy or this is our late cancellation fee, you usually have no problem paying that because you respect their time, you respect that they're running a business as well as providing a service to you. So moving on to number 2, I want you to consider having a 48-hour cancellation policy instead of a 24-hour cancellation policy. I've worked with a lot of therapists over the years, and what I find is that when you have a 24-hour cancellation policy, you just see a lot more cancellations, a lot more people canceling. And when it's just 24 hours, you're gonna have a really hard time filling that slot. Versus when it's 48 hours, you're gonna have fewer people canceling and it's gonna be easier for you to fill that slot. Number 3, state your policy clearly in your informed consent paperwork. So this should be the paperwork that you're sending out before the first session, so clients are coming in, know exactly what to expect, and they know what your policies are from the very beginning. Now, we know that not every client is going to carefully read your informed consent, so in step 4, you need to also communicate it verbally, very clearly to your clients in that first session. You just let them know, hey, this is my cancellation policy, and the reason is this time has been specifically reserved for you, so I require at least a 48-hour notice, except for in the cases of emergencies, etc. So I find that when you do that, then when it comes to actually charging that no-show fee or that late cancellation fee, it goes a lot smoother when you've communicated this from the very beginning. Number 5, store a credit card securely, whether that's electronically through your EHR or even just a paper form that has their credit card information and their authorization to charge that credit card in the event that they violate your cancellation policy. This is going to make it a lot easier for you to just charge that fee and to not have to follow up or chase clients for money. And finally, number 6, if issues with any of this arise, just simply use it as grist for the therapeutic mill. So the reality is the way that clients are interacting with our procedures and policies of the business can actually be really rich material for us to look at between therapists and clients. So to actually use process comments to reflect on the process, to reflect on how therapy is going, how much they value therapy, etc. So I find that those conversations can actually be really fruitful and move the therapeutic process along and create more depth in the therapy. All right, so that's it for this video. I've covered how to set your fees as a therapist in private practice by reverse engineering your fees based on your ideal income. And I've talked about exactly how to handle your cancellation or no-show policy. I hope this video was helpful. If you want to learn more and get more help running your private practice, just head to privatepracticeworkshop.com. That's privatepracticeworkshop.com. And again, I hope this was helpful. My name is John Clark, and I'll see you soon.